Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I figured we'd start this show off with finding out who the 6 richest people in crypto are. I saw this article this morning and it looked interesting, so I thought I'd show it to you. The first guy on the list is CZ Binance, that's the CEO of Binance. Second guy's a guy named Sam Bankman-Fried, and I don't know who that is. I guess he runs the FTX exchange. 3, Chris Larson. 4, the Winklevoss brothers. I think somebody needs to go back and correct their article. 5, Vitalik Buterin. And 6 is Tim Draper and Max Keiser. Now, I don't know how they're tied. Tim Draper's event, I don't know how they came up with this here. Broadcaster in the 2013 episode of Keiser, he announced that he had become a Bitcoin millionaire. As their calculations, he had held 25,000 Bitcoin, and I guess they think they know that that 25,000 Bitcoin are owned by Tim Draper as well. But you can see if you were Max Keiser and you owned 25,000 Bitcoin, you might act crazy when you thought your investment, what you were invested in, had a potential of falling apart too. We'll talk about more of that later. Okay. This is interesting because yesterday I showed you this tweet from the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services that they were going to have a digital assets working group. What I did not realize yesterday, Tom Emmer is letting us know. He says either we can go farther or we can go nowhere alone. If Maxine Waters cared about furthering crypto issues, she would have reached across the aisle for her digital assets working group, just like we do in the bipartisan blockchain caucus every day. Thanks for the invite, Maxine. In other words, I think that the entire working group is just Democrats. Now, I'm not weighing in one way or another on that, but that doesn't sound good to me. If they're planning on getting things done, I guess, unless they can just get them done without having the other side, but I don't know if that's good or bad. Anyway, can't be good, I imagine. All right, now, so yesterday, and this, I can't tell you how, this reminds me of how many times China has banned Bitcoin. I can't tell you how many times Goldman Sachs has come out, and one arm or another of Goldman Sachs has come out and said that Bitcoin's going to go to zero, or crypto's is not going to be this or that. Well, now they've come out yesterday, or the day before, and said, crypto is not a viable investment according to Goldman Sachs. Bitcoin has quadrupled in price since the last time Goldman Sachs consumer division declared Bitcoin not suitable for clients. Okay, well, I was immediately reminded, this is from a few days ago. Well, same year, January 15th, Goldman Sachs to enter crypto market soon with custody play. Okay, and it wasn't just Goldman, it was JP Morgan, Citigroup. They're all said to be getting into crypto custody. So it's not good enough for their clients, but they're about to get into the business of storing it. Does that make any sense to you? Well, what I said here is so true about these guys. Lying is completely acceptable to these guys as long as they're making money. Talking your book equals lying. That's their words. They like to say he might be talking his book. Well, talking your book typically just means, oh yeah, I'm talking about this, but I invested in it a year ago. Now I'm talking about it, so you'll put your money there and then I can sell out. That's what they really mean. I said, talking your book equals lying, and that's white shoe boy language. Exactly. Michael Arrington had tweeted this out. I was just going to make you aware. It looks interesting. There's some interesting things that are going to come from Proppy, I think. Proppy, I think Michael Arrington dates the lady that's the CEO of Proppy, but anyway, it's a blockchain real estate company, and it says Proppy's named the 2021 Technology Pioneer by the World Economic Forum. This will give us the opportunity to discuss blockchain importance for government, registries, and real estate industry with global leaders. Now, it's interesting thing to look at is Ripple won this award. I can't remember the year. I want to say way back in like 2016 or so. You can look it up, but it was a feature. Zero Hedge, SEC says it's seeking additional comment on VanEck's Bitcoin ETF. Well, here's the way I think this all works out. I think they're going to talk about things like VanEck, and then I think one day out of nowhere, you're going to see the SEC approve like something like a Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan ETF. It's not going to be one of these little guys. It's going to be the big boys when they do it. Okay, this was interesting, and this is back to the interview that Thinking Crypto did with David Schwartz. Jack the Rippler, boom, Amazon could potentially use XRP Ledger's federated sidechains for its blockchain service, according to Ripple Chief Technology Officer David Schwartz. And then if you go into this, he's basically said it came up, and they said, yeah, Amazon could definitely, they certainly have the infrastructure to make this happen. What we need to do is create software that's clean and organized, though. I think that it could be very competitive. We don't have a secret agenda. This is not going to succeed if it's just a Ripple thing. So anyway, and then he says the cryptocurrency could serve as liquidity of last resort. All right. So and then XRP Crypto Wolf had covered this a little bit. Ripple CTO, Amazon could definitely use XRP's Ledger's federated sidechains. Joel Katz predicts XRP Ledger's federated sidechain's biggest use case is going to be DeFi, and XRP could serve as a liquidity. Now, I was immediately reminded of this, okay? This is when David Schwartz came out with his announcement about these federated sidechains. Doing so could, in theory, enable developers to implement features like smart contract functionality off the XRPL mainnet, meaning less risk of harming the network. All right, so now we're talking about Amazon, and we're talking about smart contract functionality, okay? This takes me back. Remember, this is Kendra Hill. I've got a list of about 4 to 6 people who disappeared off of social media who I always thought were plugged in. You can add, what was his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he did the blog, Hodor. Hodor did the blogs. Hodor specifically mentioned in his blogs, over the course of writing his blog, that he had talked to people that work at Ripple. So he knew someone, because I don't talk to anybody at Ripple to do this channel. So he talked to someone. So anyway, this is what it reminded me of. Kendra Hill, who was on Steemit and disappeared off of Steemit years ago, okay? A partnership years in the making. In a deal which was negotiated in 2015, Amazon holds a stake in 5 billion XRP. Currently, that XRP is in a locked account until the partnership is made public. Why has this been kept secret? Let me first respond to this by asking you a question. Why does the price of XRP not move when new partnerships are announced? The answer to my question is that XRP has no use cases currently. This will soon change. When it does, the price will rise quickly. They are very selective when announcing new partnerships publicly. So to answer your question, it is in the best interest of everyone involved to keep the price as low as possible, allowing major investors to buy in early while also pushing away investors from the lower class. Do you feel like you've been getting pushed away lately? When the Amazon partnership is announced, the world will be talking about XRP. Millions of people will buy XRP on the day. So this partnership is being saved for a later date. Never look at Ripple for what it is today. Always assume there are multiple steps ahead at any given time. There are very intelligent people coordinating our world, and nothing is made public before it's meant to. Well, you have me releasing information that's in my possession. However, no one will be listening to me at this point in time. In the future, which is now, my blog posts will be discovered. Then you will listen to what I have to say next. Why would Amazon care to partner with Ripple in 2015? Ripple, XRP, and Codius, when combined, provide a level of value that cannot be matched by anyone. Ripple is not Ripple by chance. This was all planned. Forget about Amazon for a moment. Ripple has ties to the Federal Reserve and beyond. When XRP is combined with Codius, you have the ultimate payment processing solution, integrating into smart contracts, which offer a variety of privacy options. A company such as Amazon could not find a more perfect match. Amazon is also very similar to Ripple it too has ties to powerful entities. Now, I'll take you back. This is Chris Larson back in 2018. Listen to what he says.
And finally, the last part, smart contracts. So big, believers that also smart contracts will play a key role. Our bet would be on a technology called Codius, kind of a derivative of Intraledger. The differences here between, and so we're already getting some really good scale. The differences here between, let's say, smart contracts on Ether, which have to be on that blockchain, using that currency, using a specific language, is it's completely neutral. It can be used, again, on any blockchain. It can be used as a hosting protocol. It can use any language. It can use any currency. So we think that's going to be an important last component. We think all three of those things, the blockchains, the interoperability, and the smart contracts, equal an internet of value. I don't know.
There you go. Okay, well, that was the part you needed to hear. Then this is David Schwartz. This is from Notorious XRP.
At Ripple, it's a smart contract platform that isn't tied to any particular blockchain. It's a completely neutral smart contract platform. And one unique property it has is that it can keep a secret. And that's extremely important because a smart contract that can keep a secret can interact with the Bitcoin blockchain. It can sign transactions. It can interact with the Ethereum. It can interact with the XRP ledger. It can interact with even conventional banking systems. It can interact with web pages, things that Ethereum smart contracts can't do. Absolutely. We've been engaged with regulators for some time. If you talk to people in this space, they'll tell you like the biggest obstacle to adoption or the biggest obstacle to business development is regulatory uncertainty. And there's only two ways to fix that: engage with regulators or engage with courts. And I think we would all agree, I hope, that the regulator option.
Who's engaging with courts right now?
You cannot put your head in the sand on this. If the biggest drag on adoption is regulatory uncertainty, then the only way to fix it, other than risking going to jail, is to talk to regulators. And so we put Zoe Cruz on the board, Ben Losky. We engage with regulators all the time. We travel around the world.
Is there anybody is there anybody besides myself who feels like a lot of things are converging into what was going to happen all along right now? This is Susan Athey, who's on Ripple's board, who's been there from the very beginning. Very connected woman.
So like the Codius platform would allow you to write a program, and it'll make it easy for people to verify the program works, that would say, if these 5 things happen, then this person gets paid. If these other 3 things happen, this other person gets paid. So we could just, for example, you could think about some sort of complex financial derivative. We could take as an input the Bloomberg feed of stock prices, and we could make very complex bets about, well, if this stock goes up and this stock goes down and this other thing happens and the National Weather Service says it's sunny today, then this person gets paid. And if these other things happen, someone else gets paid. So that's going to really reduce the barriers to entry for creating financial derivative products, and it's going to allow more people to hedge more complicated situations where there's not enough people right now to make the market worthwhile to create the asset and have it verified.
Okay, and now we've got this. Check this out. So the Bitcoin people who are supposed to be down with the banks, down with the central banks and all, they got really excited about El Salvador wanting to accept Bitcoin as legal tender, but I thought their whole premise was down with the governments, down with the banks, down with all that. But the second that a government decides they want to align with them, they're all about it. Okay, but now the World Bank has rejected El Salvador Bitcoin request to assist with implementation of Bitcoin as a legal tender. So Mon Crip put this out. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, is any of this, how hard? None of this was very hard to figure out. It was never Bitcoin. Bitcoin can't do anything. And I'm about to show you someone much smarter than I am that's going to lay it all out for you very clearly. Riz XRP provided me this. This is Charles Hoskinson. To me, Charles Hoskinson, I respect him more than just about anybody in this space. That really, to me, he seems to be one of the most honorable people in this space. And nobody's ever right, but this guy seems to have good intentions, and I've always felt like my gut has always told me that this is one of the good guys, and he tries his best to tell the truth, and he tells the truth when a lot of people don't want to hear it often, but here you'll get it. Here he literally compares Bitcoin to Uncle Rico, in my opinion. Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, one of my favorite movies.
So the problem with Bitcoin is it is so slow. It's like the mainframe programming of the past. And it's the only reason it's still around is because there was so much invested in keeping it around that we just kind of have to leave it there. And one day COBOL will die. There's nothing about it from a collection of USPs that's particularly desirable. You have extremely long settlement time. You have extremely low programmability. It is not aware of any other system. There's no native way of issuing an asset in that system. You can't even do a pull transaction. You can't do anything that's interesting or unique there. And yeah, all due respect, it's, Mafia, all due respect, Tony. You got some problems. You need to lose some weight.
On the day of my daughter's wedding.
I know. So, all due respect to the Bitcoin people, it's like an amazing, incredible first generation thing. And we're all here because of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is you have to upgrade the damn thing. Just because you were a high school football star doesn't mean that 30 years later, you're still a high school football star in the same shape. You got the beer belly, you're old, you're not doing this thing again. And that's what Bitcoin has to do.
Uncle Rico.
There's fundamental improvements that I think Bitcoin can make at the protocol level that would actually make it an incredibly competitive system. Like if they wanted to keep Nakamoto consensus, proof of work, there's ways to enhance proof of work. Emin Gansir did this with Bitcoin NG, Pramod Viswanas did this with Prism. Make it 10,000 times faster, and you don't compromise the fundamental security assumptions that the system has. You can add programmability to it. Blockstream created a language called Simplicity. And so there's actual ways to extend, and we did this with Cardano with the extended UTXO model. There's ways to extend what Bitcoin has, keep the philosophy, the accounting, the way of thinking about transactions, but then suddenly you can now do DeFi and other things. But what they've done is said, we will not evolve the base layer at all, and we're just going to build all this layer 2 stuff, which is usually highly fragile and centralized and requires enormous effort at the base level to do anything. It's not a coincidence. Vitalik started as a color coins guy and a master coin guy, hanging out in those circles. He was trying to innovate and do things in Bitcoin, and it was so hard and difficult that he started diverging and going.
Exactamundo. Now, check this out, okay? And I need to give a warning here to the cancel culture out there. We have a lot of cancel culture types. These are the people that tell you that you must delete tweets because I said so, and I am the all-powerful, and I am the all-knowing. We have people out there that say you cannot talk about this topic on your channel, and those people are the all-knowing, and you, because they said so. We have these people in social media. The cancel culture, this is how they think. I don't know how on earth they came to this kind of thinking, but they do. So I'm giving a warning to the cancel culture who says you cannot talk about certain topics and you cannot say certain things. Well, I grew up in the United States of America where we have freedom of speech, and we expressing our opinion and reading articles is completely legit. and my father, I tell you what, sometimes my father, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, I will literally talk to him on the phone and I will say, can you believe, who are these people out here? These people will try to tell you that you can't talk about this topic and that they're right and you're wrong and you're not allowed to say this or say that. What in the world has happened to this world? The world's gone mad. But anyway, one of the topics that you are not allowed to talk about, I've learned this in social media, you're in crypto, you are not allowed to talk about, I'll whisper it because it's so offensive, you're not allowed to talk about quantum computing, because if you talk about quantum computing, it's so far off according to the people that know everything that you can't talk about quantum computing, because if you talk about it, there's that tiny possibility that maybe it's not as far off as they thought and they could be wrong. And so instead of actually talking about it and being open to maybe the idea that it maybe it's not so far off, instead they have to shut you down immediately because they're right and it's impossible and there's no way. So we're going to talk about quantum computing for a second here. And I do apologize, but it's quantum computing, and there's an article, and I'm going to talk about it because I'm a grown man, and I talk about what I want to talk about. I don't make accusations or any of that stuff, but when I see something that's interesting to me, and I think would be interesting to my audience, I talk about it. Deal with it. IBM's first quantum computer, I'll say that again, quantum computer, you know, when you're and just so you know, folks, when you fear something, or when, again, in this case, when you like to cancel something, the best way to do things that you fear, the best way to get over it is to just do it over and over and over. I have a fear of heights, and really the way for me to get over that fear of heights would be to drive up a mountain a lot of times. I don't want to do it, but that would probably eventually get me over the fear. So for the cancel culture, probably the best way to get over your whole cancel mentality would be to say these words over and over to yourself, and eventually it won't hurt so bad when someone talks about it. IBM's first quantum computer outside of the US has just gone live. Big Blue has, for the first time, built a quantum computer that is not physically located in its US data centers. For the company, this is the start of the global quantum expansion. That's impossible that there's a global quantum expansion going on, because we were told it's 15 years out. It's impossible. Now I'm going to hit you with something that I think has everything to do with today. This is from Deloitte, okay? Not a bunch of yahoos. This is from Deloitte, okay? Quantum computers and the Bitcoin blockchain. An analysis of the impact quantum computers might have on the Bitcoin blockchain. Let's go down here. How many Bitcoins could be stolen now if sufficiently large quantum computers were available? Imagine that someone manages to build a quantum computer today and is therefore able to derive private keys. How many Bitcoins will be in danger? To answer this question, we analyzed the entire Bitcoin blockchain. Now, I want to go. I've told this before on this channel. I'm going to tell it again real quick. What quantum computing reminds me of is the Patriot missile. When I was in high school, the first Iraq war, where they had invaded Kuwait, I'm in the gym at my church. We were playing basketball. They had a gym down there. And I walk out of the gym and I look up at the TV, and CNN's on, and you can see the missiles going. And you could see as I recall, we had no idea there was such a thing as a Patriot missile, but all of a sudden we saw Patriot missiles shooting Scud missiles out of the air. My point in telling you that is we had never been told about Patriot missiles. Nobody knew that the United States had Patriot missiles, but they did, okay? Last time I had heard about any such thing was when Ronald Reagan was president, and it was called the Star Wars program. Then they said that they scrapped it because it didn't work or whatever, or for whatever reason they scrapped it. And then all of a sudden in the 90s, we're shooting missiles out of the sky. Nobody knew it. So when you hear people say, oh, quantum computing's 15 years out, I'm reminded of the Patriot missiles, because if they say it's 15 years out, then it might be 5 or 1, okay? So this is a real concern. It's not a coincidence that the people at Flare have a computer scientist. Their head computer scientist is a quantum computer PhD. That's not a coincidence. They were making it quantum proof. Okay. Now, so look at this. How many Bitcoins could, this is part of the reason that's so bad that proof of work doesn't work. Listen to this. Nevertheless, this is their conclusion. There are still over 4 million Bitcoin, about 25% of all Bitcoins, which are potentially vulnerable to a quantum attack. At the current price, this is over 40 million USD. And I ran a calculation, and I think it came to around $157 billion worth of Bitcoin. So my question is this for you. All of these second, third, fourth generation blockchains, like what Charles Hoskinson's working on, they've factored these kind of things in to make these things quantum proof. They've thought about this. It was not thought about with Bitcoin. So my question to you Bitcoiners is this. Do you really think that the world is going to build a financial system around a technology that is outdated and is not quantum proof, so that the financial system's sitting there running along, and then all of a sudden China or someone comes out with a quantum computer and blows the whole thing up? No way, no how, not going to happen. It's not reality. You guys need to jump back into the real world. Now, Bloomberg Markets, one of the world's largest crypto exchanges, could go public in 12 to 18 months, its CEO says. Okay, that is Kraken. Okay, I've been telling you, Kraken has been on the private equity market on link to one of my sponsors, linqto.com. They're in the description of my videos. These are the ones that I think, in my opinion, Kraken and Uphold. These are both on the conveyor belt headed towards some kind of thing like going public or something, I think, in my opinion. I've bought Uphold, I've bought Kraken. I do both, okay? Also, I want to remind everybody, I've been talking about flare taxes, the taxes of the spark drop, potential taxes of the spark drop recently. If you don't want to have to worry about taxes or you want to be able to trade crypto, buy and sell, and do it in either a tax-deferred way or a tax-free way, you need to go over to iTrustCapital.com, another one of my sponsors. They're also in the description of my videos, and open an IRA. I've got 2 IRAs with iTrustCapital, a Roth and a SEP IRA, okay? And you can, they're adding digital currencies now. They just announced recently that they have, they're using Coinbase custody. And now that they're using Coinbase custody, that's going to open them up to list a lot more digital assets on the platform. These are the ones they have now. They just added this one. I don't buy all of these kind of things, but they're adding them. They've even got Dogecoin for those of you that are into that kind of thing, okay? They're going to be adding a lot more. This is exciting. In fact, I was thinking today, I'm about to transfer some more. I need to contribute to my IRA for the year, so I'm going to send them some more money, and especially now that they're adding more assets that I can invest in. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to check out iTrust.